Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our August affiliate training. This is the third in the series. We hope you guys are enjoying them so far. Today, we're going to talk more about booking better auctions, how to source and close higher value auctions. I think something that, if you're in the consignment world, something that we're all looking for. Hopefully, you can get some nuggets from today and put to practice for future use. Also, give us your feedback on these trainings and ideas for future ones, because we plan to do this each month and we have a number of ideas that we're going to dive into, and we want your feedback on what's helpful, what's not. As always, these will be recorded. We'll put them in the knowledge base as well, so you can go back and refer to them. So as stated, we have Tyler Yeager on the KBID team here, affiliate network manager, and Jeremy Delgado, marketing director as well. So we got the three of us, and I'm Chris. We haven't met in person before. Nice to meet you. Thanks for joining us. Booking better auctions. Yeah, something that we all want to do. How do we get that higher value asset to sell? Let's dive into it.
And I did just unmute everybody. So if you have, something to share, feel free to unmute yourself and ask, right? It's an open forum this whole time.
For sure. And use the chat as well. As I was thinking about this training this morning, the last minute, I was thinking, what's my one goal for today for affiliates? And it's for you to be confident enough to say yes to any opportunity that comes up. Because we never know what those opportunities might be, where you're networking, where that conversation might come up. It may be an auction in Florida in industrial equipment that you have no idea, even how to operate a wrench. But I want you to be able to be confident to say yes, because the cool thing about KBID is the network effect. We do have, 200 different companies, and we also have people outside of our network that we can lean into. So don't be afraid to say yes. If it's outside of your skill set, what you're used to, give us a call, because I'm very confident that we can sync you up with the right people. And you never know what types of opportunities may come by just saying yes. We can help out with that. And it may not be you directly, but it may be indirectly through another affiliate, through someone else. As I'm, keep going in this industry, I find that is really how a lot of people in this industry have seen the longevity that they've had. And you're seeing more collaboration in the industry as well. So people are teaming up together. They're referring deals back and forth. They know what's in their skill set, what's in their wheelhouse, and what's not. And, our main goal would be what's best for the client, and that may not be us necessarily. So if I was to put one goal for today, I want you guys to be confident enough to say yes when any opportunity comes up, because we never know what might come. When it comes down to sales in general, most of you will notice that, networking, your network is your net worth. I have a buddy who uses that phrase, and I think it's very, very true. Every networking thing that we do is an opportunity and should be seen as one. The more people that know what you do, the more chances you are to get lucky, and that's in quotations, to get a referral or a deal from that. So don't hesitate. Don't hold back on telling people what you do. And I think it's, one thing that we can really take advantage of is we're in a really interesting business. You do auctions. Okay, tell me about that. So whether you're at a church event, a bar, wherever, that is the easiest icebreaker I think you could possibly have, because it starts up some really interesting conversations. But with that, anytime you're out there networking or you're out there talking with people, it is important. And, you can do this tactfully, but you do have to ask. Like, we can go out there and tell people all the things that we do. But if we don't tell them, if specifically your friends or people that you're closer with, they want to help you. They want to help your business. So how can they do that? They need to know, okay, well, I'm looking for people that are transitioning, they're downsizing, they're closing their business. So if you don't tell them step by step exactly what you're looking for in a referral within your network, especially those that are really close in your circle, they might not know exactly what that is. So be really specific, and Tyler's going to get into some of that a little bit later, and make sure to ask for it. We know that our business is typically, there's transition happening when a lot of these auctions and liquidations are coming across our table here. So who are those people that are dealing with those transitions? They're attorneys, people in commercial real estate agents, movers, transition companies, you name it. There's a lot of people that help through transitions, whether it's growth or downsizing or closing. Pinpoint who those people are in your network, or at least in your area, and start to make connections with them. And maybe just a coffee. Hey, this is what I do. I just wanted to chat, see if we could help each other out. And another important point, networking, it does go back and forth. You help me, I help you. And you want to be able to, have it not necessarily one for one all the time, but the more that you put out there, the more that you give, the more likely you are to get back. And there's a lot of things you can do. Primarily we'll be talking about offline opportunities, but you can replicate a lot of this stuff online as well through your social media. You have a brand presence of your person, of your individuality, and then you have a brand presence of your company and a brand presence of your company online. All those things they're different. The interesting part of your online presence is you can kind of formulate that how you want. It doesn't necessarily have to be, not saying we're lying, but it doesn't necessarily have to be, 100% exactly how things are with you. So it's an interesting opportunity to, expand your brand or whatever you want to sell for those higher value assets. And you have a website. Well, what do you want to sell? Put that on your website. Tell people that's what you want to sell. That's what you have expertise in. That's what you do good. Here are the 5 auctions that I've done previously. And here are the 5 sellers of those auctions saying that they had a great experience and they loved it. And this is why you should do business with me again. As we look at the high value assets that we're going to target, that is that comes down to you, your interest, your skill set, what you know. Again, we want you to say yes, because there's other companies and auctioneers that can help out if that's not in your wheelhouse. But it is important to figure out what that is. Is it high-end jewelry, high-end estates, industrial equipment, vehicles, sports cars? Whatever your thing is, it's important for you to identify that. And in any sales process, hearing the word no, even in networking, or feeling like you're getting denied or shunned or whatever, it's going to happen. You're going to have to take that rejection. But when we get those opportunities, say you've been trying to get a bank deal and work with a banker directly, and you got that opportunity, maybe it's not the hugest thing in the world, but when you get it, you got to crush it. You got to put everything into it. Use that as your case study. Use that as your learning opportunity going forward, and use the seller too. Whether it's in this example, the banker. How could I have done better? What in the process did you like? What didn't you like? Will you write me a testimonial? Do you have other people in the industry that you would refer me to that would really help me out? What you'll see in a lot of businesses too, or in all business, there's a lot of people that are replicating each other. So you'll see auction companies out there that, maybe they're not in the KBID network, but they're doing their own thing. If you aspire to do what they do, go look at them, go to one of their auctions. I bet what you'll find is consistency, professionalism, the same thing over and over. I think, when even the small things, when you talk about, they meet with a seller, they have that conversation, which they've done for 20 years. So they know how to do it. They know how to close it. They leave them with the same proposal. It looks the same. It's got their brand. It's got everything else. They post the auction. They do the auction. Their staff is all wearing, logoed shirts. Everyone's professional. I guarantee you that there's a consistent process throughout that entire thing. So I would challenge you to go attend one of those, be involved if you see someone that you aspire to be, and see how they do it, and try to replicate that. Because can you compete? Absolutely. Can you do it better? Possibly. But just knowing how they operate can give you some really good insight into, oh, that's how they do it. That's how they have the same consistent experience and keep getting these same deals over and over again. How do I move my company to more look like that? Quick pause here. If there's any questions or comments so far, anything you like hearing, disagree with? Otherwise, we'll keep going. Sweet. Yeah, your brand and your presence. Like I said, you have your in-person presence. You also have your online presence. A saying that I think still holds true. It's not 100%, but you are what you sell. So if you want to sell sports cards, you're probably going and you start selling sports cards. What do you think people are going to bring you to sell if you do it really well, if you're exceptional at it? It's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy there. So if you sell lemons, expect more lemons. Not that lemons are negative in any connotation, but what are some simple things you can do to build your brand and your presence online? First and foremost, we keep beating this drum, but it's super important. Your KBID profile. So if you go to once you're logged in, your account, the account page, there's an affiliate properties. And that page is your opportunity to sell yourself and your company and what you do. And we push a lot of sellers that are coming to the site to just see, what affiliates are out there that are looking to take consignments. So what does yours look like? Does it just say your name and phone number and email address? Okay, that's what you're representing. Or does it give, a little bit of history of who you are, what you do, why you love what you do, how you can help people, and what their next steps are? That's the direction I would lean towards. And then you can copy that in other areas online. Google My Business website, your social media profile or profiles. If you can, it's important to try to keep that information consistent. So you don't have to write this stuff 100 different times. Hopefully you can just write it once and replicate it here, 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 and here. If I was to give you 3 to start with, it would be your KBID profile, your Google My Business, your website, and we'll throw a Facebook page on there too. If those are the 4, Doug, I don't know if you would have anything more than that, but if there were 4 that I would want to make sure I have at least, 3 paragraphs of who I am, what I do, and what types of assets you want to sell, those higher value assets, make sure that's replicated on all 4 of those. And again, that referral network. How can you help these people? How can they help you more specifically? And what does that look like? Okay, I want to help people sell restaurants that are closing. Okay, in that situation, what exactly do you need? Do you want a warm handoff? Do you just need a phone number? Do you need an email address? How does that look to get that process started? And do you have any collateral that you can give to them? If you're out meeting with your close network who's looking for opportunities for you, give them some collateral, at least a business card, give them something that they can pass on and hand out when those opportunities arise. This one is absolutely super important and is more and more of our lives live online. The concept of social proof is real. It's real. People want to know that they are dealing with someone who's done it before, who's provided a good experience and, is capable of handling their project. So how do we do that? We got to showcase our past success. When we say you get that opportunity, you got to crush it. Okay, now you crushed it. Now you got to document it and blast it out into the world. So everyone that is looking for that similar type of project is there and can see it. That if you were to rank the effectiveness of like a testimonial or a case study, I would say video, at least a photo, and then lastly, just a blurb of, a quote from them directly. If you can get a video of a seller, I would 100% put that. I'd create a page on your website. I maybe put it on your homepage if they're willing to. because that is the social proof that people are looking for. And in a world that we're, more and more online, people do crave authenticity and real humans. So showing that we're real humans and that we work with real humans via video, via photos, that just kind of drives the point home. And then if my recommendation would be, if when you're getting those opportunities, I would build that into your process. You have this is the dates we're going to set up the auction. This is when we're going to refine the catalog. This is when we're going to launch. This is our inspection. This is our removal. This is when we settle the auction. After that, did I follow up with the seller and ask for the testimonial? Like that should just be in your process from the beginning, because if it's not, you're going to forget. And then you're going to remember 6 months later, and it's not going to be as fresh in their head, and it's going to be a little awkward. And now you've kind of lost an opportunity. So what I would do starting today is whatever your process looks like and wherever it fits in that process, and maybe you tease that earlier, like, hey, we rely on referrals. I'd love it at the end of this auction to give us your feedback. And if you're willing, just give us a little testimony of how it went so we can, use that to help us further. I think some small little changes like that in your process can really result in these adding up, because I know that we're all busy and you get into that, I'm into the next deal. Don't lose that opportunity, because they are so, so important. Now, when you get that opportunity, how do you pitch for success? It's hard to do like a template boilerplate pitch or proposal when it's higher value assets. You want to be specific. You want to speak to them, speak to the problem that they're having, and not every problem is the same. One may be financial, one may be space, one may be whatever it may be. But you want to have your solution to them tailored for that situation, because that'll speak directly to them. You want to be as data-driven as possible, and this is where you can use us. Say, hey, I got an opportunity to liquidate a brewery. I'm confident I can do it. I've never done it before. How many breweries has Gabe sold the last 3 years? You let me, Delgado, Tyler know. We'll get you that information. We'll get you the data. We'll show you what we did on a marketing. Like, we can put together a marketing proposal even beforehand for you. We just did one this week. That's what we're here for. And another benefit of, the network side of things is, well, yeah, you didn't necessarily do the auction, but this affiliate in the network did it, and this is how it performed. So huge benefit there. Don't hesitate to ask, reach out, because we can have access to that data a little bit easier than you may have. You do have the ability to search for closed lot prices, which is important. But we may be able to get that stuff a little quicker and easier. Someone asked me this week for some type of auction. Oh, it was a bike liquidation. And he asked, when's the last bike liquidation we had? And I was able to pull up 5 different sales in the last 3 years and send them over. That is not really possible for you to do. It'd be very difficult. So just let us know, like, that is really good data. The more recent, the more relevant, but can really help in that process. And then lastly here, I'm big on process. I'm big on consistency. I would really look at your process when we're talking about asking for that referrals, but I'd also start putting together a proposal that's standard, consistent, has your logo on it. Doesn't have to be super fancy, but if you go and do a client meeting, this is what you can expect. This is what we do. This is what we offer. That could tie in very closely with your contract, and maybe you leave these at the same time as like a proposal with a contract. And Tyler, the sales side of him, would say absolutely, maybe lead with the contract and then the proposal after. Either way, do they look similar? Going back to those companies that are crushing it in whatever vertical we want to get into, I can bet you that their content looks similar. I can bet you that they have a nice folder with their logo on it. I can bet you that they're not sending a settlement check with, no logo or anything. Like, I bet that whole process is very thought out and looks clean and professional from start to finish. Yeah, so that would be my recommendation on, on the pitching side once you get these opportunities. And it can be daunting. There is in any business, actually, the longer I'm, in the professional world, the longer I see that the fake it till you make it, that's consistent across the board. No one knows what the hell they're doing in a lot of different things. Their people are figuring out as they go. Confidence can sell, and there's a benefit that you have support behind you, that you can get a partner, a referral, data from us, to help with whatever that project may be.
Very good. So I want to do just a little example of the mindset when developing your outreach, right? So I like to call it, build a pitch to grow a network worth knowing you and what you do. All of our affiliates are different. All of the value that you guys provide is going to be different between, one affiliate to the other. But this framework, this mindset, this way of thinking is going to help you in your specific niche, right? So it's really a 4-step process, but it all starts with step 1, identifying your ICP, which is your ideal customer profile, right? Our dealers are going to have a different ICP than our liquidators, and our liquidators are going to have a different ICP than our retail folks. So there's no consistent ICP. So that is something that you have to develop within and then use that with your guys' prospecting. So step 1, define your ideal customer profile. It is ideally both a company and a person, because there is going to be the best person at a specific company that is going to be your ICP, but it can also be just a company or a type of person, whether they're a consultant or that type of model. Step 2 would be document, right? So location of the company, the website. I like to use these 2 often because, when I cold call or when I reach out to somebody, I might be referencing something on their website, whether that's, oh, I saw you guys, you gave money to this organization and I wanted to give you a call because that is a dear, organization or fundraiser to me. Whatever it might be, find those commonalities to build rapport and really take it to the next level. So step 3 would be developing that elevator pitch, right? Anyone you see, that's when the elevator pitch comes in. And it's the very, very intro to what you do, the solutions you provide. And it's really your first step in building trust, right? It shouldn't be longer than 30 seconds, maybe even shorter than that. And then you want it to clearly explain who you are, what you do, and the high value level that you provide, right? Make some emails, make some voicemail scripts. It's going to start with, a script, but then it eventually will just become ad lib and you will understand, the way that you should be saying it from this person to this person to this person. It changes a little bit between targets and ICPs, but for the high level, right, it's who you are, what you do, and the value you provide to your customers. And then step 5, 6, 7, 8, those are really going to be, is that a contract? Is that, an on-site? Is that a meeting? And then it could be, 12, 15 steps, right? Everyone is going to be a little bit different. I wanted to just give you a quick example.
Tyler, before I'll jump to that, how do you, when you're looking at a company, how do you determine who that individual in the company or the position is that you need to get to? Decision maker.
It's going to be, part of the, asking the right questions to the right people. But you can definitely meet with someone and ask them the open-ended questions, or close-ended, right? Are you the person that handles liquidations for your company? No. Okay. Who is that? So, close-ended when you need to, and then open-ended when you need more details, right? If you want them to explain. But really, yeah, it's more or less just getting in there and asking questions. So I do want to make sure, think solution versus service, right? The service fixes a problem, right? I need my yard mowed. I need, my shingles replaced. That would be the surface level, but that solution fixes the challenges, right? Think challenge with what you guys do and the value you provide from the very beginning, right? Because you help folks that have challenges, right? So that solution fixes a challenge because of a problem. There's all sorts of solutioning pain funnels. The Sandler model is a very good model to keep in mind. But basically, you want to get your prospects to explain the troubles they're having in basically words that meet your service. I have another slide that I'll get to describing that a little bit more, but I want to give one example, right? So, let's say, I'm a liquidator and my ICP would be lawyers and law firms, right? That do post and pre-foreclosure, right? So the problem is their client, they're a bank, and that bank is having problems, right? You don't know what those are exactly yet, but they have a client that's not making payments and the banker is losing money, right? Every single day that they're not paying their mortgage, they're losing money. So the solution they need is someone to come in, liquidate all of the assets, and get the maximum ROI on this lost client, right? So develop your elevator pitch based on that information and then build that story, right? So me and my company, we work with brokers, lawyers, and contractors all over the Midwest. We have partnerships where we regularly bring in closure to your challenges stemming from foreclosures, right? By bringing a hands-on approach when closing cases pertaining to your delinquent clients, right? Their businesses, their locations, and then really just maximizing ROI to get your money back, right? Write your stories down because it's going to help you in describing and bringing clients in. So this next slide is the law firm ripple effect. Did we miss one, Chris? Yeah, there we go. So this one I actually took from a different, events that I watched, but I really liked it because one law firm actually, represents 5 different banks, and each of those banks have, 5+ workout officers, and then each workout officer runs multiple files at once, right? All of those files could potentially be a spot for you in your business to help. And then, if you build that rapport with that one law firm, it can just turn into an inbound machine once you close the contract or, the MSA or whatever the requirements are to get on their vendor list. So keep in mind, it's probably harder to, get into a law firm, but at the same time, it's probably worth it. And then this next one is just that pain funnel, right? So you have your first level pain, right? Do you have problems with liquidating assets? And then the second level is, how do you feel when a client goes delinquent, right? The goal is to get them to basically explain how they see this being fixed with your solution, right? Third level, there's different questions that you ask based on the phase, but your goal is to get them down that funnel and then close that deal. There is a link on one of these, and we'll share these. There's a link, but it's the Sandler solutioning model in the pain funnel. So dig into that if you guys want. It's very interesting, and it helps you build rapport and bring in more clients. So yeah, thanks, Chris.
Thank you. And to clarify, Sandler, that's a sales training, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's a solution sales mindset model where I've seen people do it that are real pros. It's not going to happen overnight, but it has to do a lot with when to use closed-ended versus open-ended questions, what types of questions, and how do you get the answers you want so you can steer the conversation without them feeling you are, right? It's kind of black magic, but it's a lot of psychology and a lot of interesting stuff there.
I love that. And I assume that most of our affiliates haven't had like a formal sales training. Maybe some have, but if you're not in the corporate world, not a lot of people have that opportunity. So even like a book, check out a couple different ones, the Sandler method. I don't know them off the top of my head, but when you're looking at sales and that psychology, super important. And even if you can just grab little nuggets here and there, they're successful for a reason. So, and they're trained to Fortune 500 companies for a reason that they work at the end of the day. So, great point there. Yeah. So piggybacking off of that, in the psychology of a seller, Tyler hit it right on the head. What problem are we solving for them? What solution are we providing? It's usually can be a stressful period. So how do we reduce that stress? We can reduce it by building the trust with them, making them feel comfortable, leaving out the ambiguity, being super clear, documenting what that process looks like. Answer those questions before they even pop up. Over document, over answer questions, because in times of high stress, they may not remember the conversation that they had 2 weeks ago. So maybe in your process after you get a contract signed, you follow up with hey, really appreciate it. As a reminder, here's the next steps that we anticipate. We need access to the building on the 12th. We're going to set up on 12th to the 14th, planning to go live on the 16th, ended on the 30th, removal on these dates. I'll just want to confirm that we're all on the same page and acknowledge that we need access. That can all be templated too. You don't have to recreate the wheel every single time. But again, now they have something to go back to. They have that, follow-up email or document that you give them that can, answer those questions before they come back up again. Because again, they're can be in a stressful position. So the more that you can take off their shoulders, the better experience they're going to have, and the more credibility you're going to be able to build, and the more likelihood that they're going to have a good experience. And at the end of the day, that experience may not matter about the return of the auction. It's just, did they provide a solution to my problem? It's not all about the dollars and cents for a lot of these auctions. It's really the problem of moving on, getting the building empty so we can sell it, paying off that loan so we can, close up this business. Those are the problems that are being solved. It's not all dollars and cents. When we're talking about networking opportunities, I think we should not forget the buyer experience, because we never know who's in that buyer's circle of influence as well. I'm a big proponent of using every interaction that you have. It's an extension of your brand. So how do you want to represent yourself? You got to think of the buyers as potential clients as well. And if you're selling a specific asset niche, there's likelihood, if they bought from you, they may know other people that are in that niche as well, or have those types of assets, or they themselves may have those assets in 5 years or 2 years or 10 years, whatever it may be. So how did they feel? How was the process? That is just an opportunity that you can't overlook. And, it goes beyond just the, removal and all that stuff. It's, how does your auction look? Are the details consistent? Are the pictures good? Is the quality good? Every auction that we put out there is a billboard for us. So take that opportunity. Again, when you get that ICP client that you're looking for, and you finally got one, you got to crush it in every aspect. So from the pictures to the details to the buyer experience at the end, all those little things add up in the long term. And then if you can process that internally through you and your staff, I mean, that's really what you want to build towards, because processes build businesses, and consistency and attention to detail matter in the long term. We talked a lot about referrals here, and actually we just talked a lot about this. But again, that experience that you provide, I hear it a lot, whether it's a seller lead coming in, you guys came highly recommended from whomever. The missing opportunity there, so that referral, if that's someone in your network, you want them to be giving your name and number. So having some of that documentation ready, making sure they know, that they can contact you directly here. Because if it comes into us, we don't necessarily know who that referral came from. If we hear that, hey, I did an auction with XYZ Auctions, then yes, we're going to give it back to XYZ Auctions. We want to be very transparent and make sure that we keep those relationships going. But we do hear it quite a bit that you come highly recommended, or we read something online. Don't miss that opportunity. If people in your sphere of influence are referring you, make sure they give out your name, your website, your phone number, your email. And we just talked a lot about, all of this, the efficiency and process. It just builds confidence, and you'll see it as well. When you get these systems in place, when you get, exactly step 1, step 2, step 3, and everything's streamlined and professional, you'll feel more confident out there. Your staff will, your clients will be, happy with the process, and that'll just build on itself. All right, I don't have a whole lot more, but to kind of wrap this up, I do have a section that I'll jump to with some networking groups, and maybe we can chat on that, do kind of an open forum. But to kind of wrap some of this up before we jump to that, you really are building your reputation one auction at a time. Networking takes time. It takes effort. This business, these higher value assets are not going to fall in your lap. Sometimes they do. When they do fall in your lap, we're going to crush it, remember. But if you intentionally put some of these things into practice, put some thought into who your ideal client is, and start moving the needle, maybe it's you spend 2 hours a week on Monday afternoon and on this project of who's my ideal client, how do I start finding these people, and then making the steps to reach out to them. And again, once we get that first opportunity, because it can happen. It may not be the biggest one in the world, but we're gonna crush it. We're gonna do everything we can in our power to make sure that it's a great experience for both the sellers and the buyers, and hopefully that ripple effect will come back to us for the next one. Then we talked about, Doug, I'll let you just wrap up on this before we jump over to the kind of networking groups.
Yeah, thanks. Perfect time too. And what I wanted to say, because we have quite a few new affiliates out there as well, I don't want this, or we don't want this to be kind of a daunting task when we talk about reputation and, getting testimonials and stuff. So utilize KBID. If you haven't, definitely go to the KBID Google My Business page or Google Business Profile. Feel free to scour the reviews and feel free to use those, because you are KBID. KBID is you, depending on what you're doing and what you're talking about. Obviously, some reference different auctioneers, so don't utilize that per se. Or if you know them, you can say, hey, here's my colleague, because I know we have a lot of affiliates who talk back and forth in the community, which is great. Everyone's helping everybody. But there's a lot of awesome reviews there to where they say, I used KBID. It was seamless. It was effortless. Shipping was easy. Pickup was easy. Affiliates were awesome. Customer service was great, so on and so forth. Utilize those. Be very generic. Like Chris mentioned, it's not so much like an act as if we're lying. It's act as if, because you are part of us. We are you. So if something is a little more difficult from your end, either try to do it yourself by utilizing what information KBID has out there right now, or just don't be afraid to pick up the phone or email Tyler or email myself, and we'll see what we can do. If you have something saying, hey, I have this potential, is this something we've done before, or should I take it? The first thing we'll definitely ask is, what do you think value potentially would be? Obviously we don't waste anybody's time, so make sure the value's there. But in terms of testimonials, reputation management, and so on and so forth, like Chris mentioned, don't overthink it. If you don't have something, or if you're just starting out, or if you still have only 1 or 2 auctions underneath your belt, definitely utilize what KBID has. We put a lot out there in terms of review videos, happy bidder review videos, signs, literature, testimonials. Our Google My Business page has over 1,000 reviews, 5-star reviews, that is. So feel free to use that. Say, hey, the network I'm part of has over 1,000 Google reviews with 5 stars, so on and so forth. Don't be afraid to utilize KBID, because you are selling on KBID. So as long as you're in good standing, we're okay with you using our stuff, because it's there for everybody, because a rising tide raises all ships. So don't forget that. Don't try to become independent too much. Obviously it's your business, but definitely know that there's a lot of weight behind the KBID name and the platform. So off my soapbox, with that being said, the biggest thing we want, just to go off of what Chris mentioned and this presentation's been over, is reputation and, bigger, better sales is people want proof. There's so much crap out there. As you know, you're probably inundated with a lot of the AI stuff, a lot of the fluff stuff. Well, that's going to only continue to happen. So what we're looking to do is obviously make sure that people are seeing faces with some of the places and auctions that are out there. So what we need is we need more social proof. We're getting a lot from affiliates, which is great, but we want to kind of run for a limited time. We might do it depending on the numbers. We can cut it off faster or leave it longer. But what we're looking for is as you as a seller or you as the affiliate, we want you to get seller testimonials, whether that be video or handwritten. And again, it doesn't have to start as of now. If you've gotten something from 6 months ago or 9 months ago, a lot of the literature we're creating doesn't have to be dated. We're just putting it out there to say, hey, many people are utilizing KBID. Why aren't you? And again, that's the people who are looking to sell stuff or consign stuff with you. So what we're looking to run is anybody who sends some sort of literature in, it's got to be kind of worth its weight. You can't just say, worked with John at JMS or Jim at great. Sometimes that's too much. We want a video testimonial or kind of a longer written testimonial that, as it says there, uses the name, talks about the individual. I was Karen from Kansas or Karen from Minneapolis. I had to liquidate my estate sale for my parents. They took care of everything. White glove service, did very good. So what we're looking to do is find some testimonials, again, written or video. Video would be awesome. And then what we do is we'll doctor it up, meaning we'll put the fancy lettering in there. We'll make actions happen. We'll put effects, and we'll make it look good. And we'll actually send you the finished product as well if you want. Or a lot of times you can just find it on the YouTube channel for KBID or some of our other social platforms, because we get it out there in every channel as much as we can. So as you can see, there's going to be a $250 marketing credit for each and every testimonial that you send to me, send to us. So that's a big deal, especially for a lot of you new affiliates. Once you create one, a lot of people want to help you out and just say, hey, I'm trying to build up my portfolio of happy sellers. Would you be okay with giving me some sort of testimonial? And again, don't be afraid to ask. A lot of people want to help you out because you're helping them out. So that's a huge promotion. We haven't done it before. We've given, smaller credits, but we want to go after this because we want to show, what people are doing with KBID and what those sellers are saying about KBID and why more will sell with us, because it's kind of like a herd effect in terms of sales. If people see other people doing something, then they're going to want to follow because they're like, wow, something must be working or they're doing something right. So without further ado, that's everything. We're the marketing department over here. You guys let us know what you need from us, but these are exciting times. I don't know necessarily what slides are next or if there's any, but to Chris's point, I need you, or all affiliates, you should make sure and put a robust affiliate profile on your KBID profile page. We definitely need that. People are going to that page. People are seeing it. So if you can sign, make sure you mention you can sign. If you are a liquidator, mention you're a liquidator. Fill that out. It's time. There's been too many affiliates that haven't been taking advantage of what's there for you. Put your Facebook page on there. Put your URL on there for your website. We have very big what's called weight or an affiliate score or a web score out there because KBID has a lot of traffic on a daily basis. So Google will rank us and rank you as a profile. Somebody types in, JMS or I-35 or Pillar Properties in Google, your KBID page will more likely come up before your website because we are highly weighted, highly trafficked, and definitely very, very transparent based on all the other things we're doing online. The next thing, if you don't, get a Google business profile for sure. These are low-hanging fruits that are free and you have to take advantage of it. It's your business. Think of the long term, build it once, build it out, get it done. I can go on and on, but we'll do something different another time. But again, $250 marketing credit, seller testimonials. Let's build this together. We're going to grow 2025.
Yeah, and I want to just clarify one thing for the testimonials. Explain the whole story of their experience, right? Like, client called me needing to transition, 50% of the assets in their house. They needed an off-site location or an on-site, right? So from that first interaction to you cutting the check, we want that full story, every little step involved, from phone call or, email from the seller to when you cut them a check. and told them to, call me back next time. So just make sure you have every little interaction. We don't want just like, we liquidated this business and it helped them, right? We want that whole story. We want to know their challenges, the pains, everything that these people that experience and how you fixed it.
Great point. Great point. We had one question about the specifics on this. What we'll do, we'll formalize this and send out an email to all affiliates on what it looks like and how to submit them and what the requirements are. So thanks for that question. Yeah, we'll get that detail out to you by middle of next week, maybe even today, but we'll get that to you via email so it's formalized and not just this nebulous. So I did want to open this up at the end. We added kind of a list here of some groups that may be worth looking into based on your business and asset focus. So there's by asset type. So states downsizing. There's national associations. There's local associations. If you're looking for construction equipment, there are local contractor associations. Associations are a really big part of this. One that I am a part of just recently as of this year is this Turnaround Management Association. I wasn't aware that it existed for some reason before this year, but I joined, and lo and behold, it's a room full of bankers and attorneys. So like, why wasn't I here 10 years ago? Another, very good, depending on what you're looking for. There's a lot of good groups out there and associations. It's going to cost you some time and money. It's going to be a long game. You're not going to go into the first event, start handing out cards and get business. But by the third or fourth time, you've made connections. Now things are starting to happen. You can ask for that business. You got to do it tactfully right away. You don't want to necessarily come out all sales, but there's a lot of opportunities depending on what niche you want to go to. So I wanted to open it up here. This is in the knowledge base. If you just search for networking, it's under training and development and sales and development. So if you want to take a look at that, if anyone else has other groups that they've seen success with, anything else regarding, this meeting today that you can add to, let's chat with it. Any questions or anything anyone wants to add?
Chris, I put that knowledge base link in the chat as well. So
sweet.
Everybody, if you're in chat or if you don't have chat open it up, and that knowledge base article is in chat for an easy use.
Did you have a question coming in maybe?
Yeah, I was at Lunds and Byerly's yesterday or 2 days ago. And I noticed that they had this isn't necessarily networking more than it is marketing, but they had a board, a digital board with advertisements on it. And my first thought was, geez, if I was doing estate sales in Wayzata, I'd be on that board. Like, that's just how my mind thinks. But that's not necessarily networking, more marketing, but those types of opportunities. Think of that ideal client that you want. Where do they shop? What do they do? What are their kids into? Like, don't get weird about it, but like, what does their life look like, and how do I get in front of those people? How do I start rubbing elbows with them?
Yeah, and Chris, to pony off of that, I mean, to be honest, people are lazy. So if they see something on their way out and they were thinking to recall or find or need a service that you provide, they'll just grab that, and then they're like, oh, they were in front of me when I was thinking about it. This is who I'm going to call. A perfect example of that, to be honest, I had a coworker. We had a coworker that was moving, and she had to get everything out of their house. A postcard just happened to be in the mail that day. So that's the service she called to move all of her stuff, 2-man truck or whatever that may be. But there's 500 other moving services. But because they sent that postcard that day, she just called them because it's convenient. It's easy. Is there a little price difference here and there? Sure. But people will pay for convenience. So again, still sweat equity and boots on the ground. Those marketing efforts go a long way. But that's probably it for everybody today. Do you guys have any other questions? If you do, just quickly unmute or put it in chat. We'll give it a minute or so if there isn't any, and then we will definitely be done for today.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you all.
All right, everybody. How about let's utilize the React feature, and let's give us some thumbs up or some high fives and praise for Chris, because he puts a lot of time and effort into this, and we appreciate it. So show some love. All 10 of you, come on, give us some. There you go. Kevin, gracias. Jim, gracias. JM Liquidations, excellent. Tyler with the big happy face. Good, good. All right, you all the rest of you might be sleeping. All right, we got another one. We got Taryn, excellent. Janice, appreciate it.
Approved.
There we go.
All right,
Approved. Yep.
Appreciate you.
All
We're
right,
having
everybody.
fun doing
Thank
these,
you.
guys. Again, let us know your feedback. Let us know any topics that you want to dive into. Yeah, these are fun, and I think they're important as well. Even if we've all heard a lot of this stuff before, but you got to hear it again. You know, one thing, if you take one thing from today and it works for your business, and that's a success. So say yes, and when you get that opportunity, just crush it, right?
Let's do it.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Chris.
See you guys next time.
Thank you.